commend the bill to the House.
I call the Honourable Nicky Wagner.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I too would like to note that today, the 8th of September, is the 4th of September, I apologise, the 8th anniversary of the Canterbury earthquakes and the first major earthquake of 15,000 earthquake sequence. And I remember that morning extremely well. Everyone who lives in Canterbury and in Christchurch has been affected by these earthquakes. Everyone has been touched. Everyone has felt the loss. But I do have to say that I think we can all be very proud of how Cantabrians have responded over this length of time, over the last 8 years. There has been enormous challenges, of course, and one of the most major challenges has been insurance issues. And when you think about it, over 600,000 individual claims with about 200,000 properties affected. And over the last 8 years, of those 200,000 properties, all have been completed, with 3,600 left still on the EQC's books. And of course, we always knew that there was going to be an enormous amount of work, an enormous amount of heartbreak, I suppose, that went through this insurance policies. And we always knew that some people would be the last. And the last people are the ones that are often the most vulnerable, the ones who've had the toughest times. And so it is really good that we are looking today at this Canterbury Earthquake Insurance Bill, because if we can use this to clean up those last 3,600 claims that are still with EQC, that is a very good thing. So National will be supporting this bill. We'll be supporting it because we think it's important to try everything we possibly can to complete the insurance settlements in Christchurch, not because we have any faith in the bill. In fact, we have no faith in it in terms of its shape, in terms of its substance, or in terms of its practicality. Like all Christchurch and Canterbury MPs, I've been deeply involved with insurance claims over the last 8 years, and we've supported thousands of people to go through the EQC process. So we've learned a little bit about insurance, and we're very hopeful that we can finish those last claims. But what we have found over that length of time is that things like the Residential Advisory Service have provided support for some of these very complex and difficult claims very successfully. Now, just looking at the principle of this bill, the principle of the Canterbury Earthquakes Insurance Tribunal Bill is to provide speedy, flexible and a cost-effective service to help resolve insurance claims between policyholders and insurers and insured persons and the Earthquake Commission. As I said, National supports this purpose. But we feel that this piece of legislation is flawed. It has been rushed, as has been noted today, and there's been very little consultation, either with the industry or with the insured people. And it's really supposed to be to help homeowners. So it's particularly important that homeowners were part of the process, and that hasn't been the case. It sort of feels that rational policy development with good information has been sacrificed for the rhetoric of the election promises. And that's a real worry. It's a real worry that even the regulatory impact statement identified as well, because what it said was the lack of consultation has compounded the lack of data, both which you could have got if you talked to the people involved, which means that Cabinet faces significant unknowns. Now, that's particularly concerning because really what we want right now is a little bit of certainty. So, as I said, National supports the idea of speedy, we support the idea of flexible, and we support the idea of a cost-effective process. But let's test whether this legislation actually delivers on that. So first, let's look at speedy. Well, again, the regulatory statement says it may take just as long to be resolved by the new tribunal than under the status quo. And on top of that, we've heard that the tribunal won't be up and running to at least later next year. So taking longer than the status quo, not starting till later the next year, would we consider that speedy? Secondly, flexible. The tribunal only has the power to decide simple cases that are not already in the courts. So it rules out a large number of EQC claims already in the system. And the final 3,600 claims that are on the books are largely not only complex, but very complex and technical, because that's why they're outstanding. They're the ones they haven't been able to solve. So this tribunal needs to be flexible enough to deal with those issues, and it's obviously not. And equally so, as been mentioned today, it doesn't deal with unsold properties, unsold claims, and that's an issue that's becoming increasingly pressing, and this government has done absolutely nothing to deal with them. And finally, decisions by the tribunal can be appealed back to the court. Now, that's neither speedy nor flexible. And in fact, Mr. Little's own department, the Ministry of Justice, preferred a mediation process to this tribunal, something along the lines of the Residential Advisory Service. Now, that's the service that National set up nearly 6 years ago, which has been running very successfully. It's morphed and it's tweaked to deal with the issues that's come up. It's dealt with thousands of cases, very complex cases, cases that have got very vulnerable people. And I actually say they've been very flexible about how they've dealt with those cases, how they've dealt with EQC, and how they've dealt with the insurers. So it seems to me that something like the Residential Advisory Service on steroids would actually deal very effectively with these last 3,600 claims. And finally, let's test the idea of cost effectiveness. Because the bill has been so rushed, there's actually no information about any cost-benefit analysis at all. We don't know whether it's going to be cost-effective. We're only going to find out when we get a hefty bill. And right now, there's only 1 year's worth of funding allocated in the budget, so where will the rest of the money come from? So, cost-effective? I doubt it. And again, because of the rush, we have been unable to not only understand the data, but also can't understand how that data can be used to get effective outcomes. So, in summary, the new Earthquake Insurance Tribunal, will it be speedy? I don't think so. Will it be flexible? No, it can't be. And will it be cost effective? Well, we won't know until we get the bill. As I said in the beginning, National absolutely supports this bill because doing something is better than doing nothing, but I really believe that the strengthening of the Residential Advisory Service would have been much more speedy, much more flexible and much more cost-effective approach. We've seen it being successful. Thousands of claims have gone through that service, and I believe it's far better to build on a success, build on something that's working, something that can give the flexibility to finally close off these very last insurance claims. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
This is a split call, 5 minutes. I call Joe Luxton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am really thrilled to be